Next up, we're going to take a look at some image properties to help you with print-based assignments. This is just a quick little slide that I put together that shows the difference in image sizes. So we're going to talk a little bit about this and then actually resize a low resolution image and check out the properties of a high resolution image. So in Photoshop, you can kind of see in the visuals here the example of good DPI and bad DPI. So the bad example would look really, really choppy when you bring it into your layouts. So if you were using web images, that's only 72 DPI. It looks great on your monitor on a lower resolution screen. As the screen monitors are upgrading and becoming more higher resolution, the pixel widths are more. So they might be 72 DPI, and instead of 600 pixels wide, they might be like 2890 pixels wide. But you can see a good image would be 300 DPI. It'll look great on your monitor, but it'll also print great, and it shows little examples of what a low resolution file would print like and then what a high resolution file would print like. I'm sure everybody's had the experience where they printed out something, whether it's your own work or someone else's, and the image just looked really, really fuzzy. And that's usually what happens when the DPI is low on the image. Okay, so in Photoshop, if you go to image and then image size with what you have on your screen, I'm just going to show you two examples of what your workspace could look like. So I have a 12 by 8 inch file at 300 DPI with CMYK color mode. That would be a really good setup for print. It's in inches already. The DPI is 300, which is already high quality. Your color mode is CMYK, which would be cyan, magenta, yellow, black, which would be the color space we're using mostly in this course. Versus down here, a low resolution file in one of the presets in Photoshop, that's where I pulled these from, they would be in pixels and then 72 DPI and RGB. So the first 2 weeks, this is actually what we're doing with your files, is I'm going through and I'm making sure all those images are reformatted correctly before they go into InDesign. All right, so let's take a look at some images that I have. So this is one that I actually have that's already set up high resolution. So you can zoom in and you can see it's pretty decent quality. But what we're going to do is we're going to do just like what's in this last slide. We're going to do image size. So with an image of your choice, if you want to try this out, you can do image size. And you can see here, it's already set up in inches. The resolution is 300. Okay, so this would already be set up for print, and you could take this directly into InDesign, except for there's one last thing here that we'd have to do. It's in RGB right now, so what we're also going to do is we're just going to change it. We're going to go to image mode and CMYK. It's going to tell you it's converting it, and you're fine with that. And then we could save it out as a JPEG or a TIFF file or a PSD file, and those are some things that we're going to talk about coming up. All right, so low resolution images. You can do something called resampling them, but it doesn't always mean you can use it in a layout any size that you want. So let me kind of explain that. So let's do the easiest thing that we can do here, which would just be go up to image and mode and change it to CMYK. Okay, so the color formatting is now correct. And now let's go to image size and see what we can do about this. Okay, so it's 8 inches by 8 inches is 72 DPI. So what I want you to pay attention to is if you type in the resolution, all the other numbers should change at the same time. Notice how at 72, it changes to 8 by 8. Now if we type in 300 DPI, it's only going to be 2 by 1. What does that mean? It's smaller than a business card. So if you were to place this in your InDesign layout, it would only be, maybe a couple of inches bigger than a stamp. So you wouldn't be able to use this for a high quality background for maybe an ad. Okay, but a common mistake that people do that I see happen is when you check on resample, notice what happens to your numbers. Nothing. Okay, you don't want resample checked when you're sizing when you're taking a web image and you're sizing it for print, because you can see none of the numbers are changing, correct? What that means is you're just blowing out the pixels. So even though Photoshop thinks it's now 300 dpi, if I hit OK, you can see how bad this image looks. And these are some of the things that I'm looking for when I'm dissecting your documents is, you know, if your link says it's high res, if I open them up individually, are they really high resolution? Or did this happen? And that's where a lot of points are lost that first 2 weeks. So let's do that again. Image, image size. If resample is checked, you want to uncheck it. Now if you change it to 300 dpi, you can see that it changes it correctly. So image, image size, and now this could go into InDesign. It would just have to be very small. Okay?